Whatever.
Who sucks?
Freaking fricks.
You frickin' pricks. You wait while you learn. Your actions have consequences. Who's introing? You or me?
David.
Oh, David. Okay.
It's so
He
weird. I have
got
to look off to the
instantly.
side.
He answered.
What? There's a camera. Hey, welcome to the Triflix cast. It's with me, David, the efficiency manager man, and we got Tristan. Maybe, yeah, that's Tristan.
Me. I'm here.
Oh.
I'm the director.
Wow! Yay!
Woo.
And we got Cole.
Hi. I'm the producer.
Wow! And
Look at me.
This is the Triflix cast. We're not looking at him. You're looking at me.
Welcome.
Oh wow, that's
And,
hot.
yeah.
Season 3.
Season 3.
We're just going to mention that every time.
Of it. Yeah.
We are. We're in the thick of it.
We're really doing it now.
2 episodes in.
Yeah.
We're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
So, roll the intro.
Oh, yes, the intro. Ooh, I love the intro music.
Do we actually edit the intro in post anymore, or is it just
Nope.
fully? It's just
This
this is the
This is the intro.
I do a little magic to it.
No magic.
No magic.
just a straight
Wow.
It's done.
hard cut.
That's all you guys needed. So,
Oh.
welcome.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Triflix cast, the #1 podcast in Columbus, Indiana. Maybe one day all of the Columbuses in the world.
Just the Columbus.
Just the Columbus.
That'll be our goal. Just find every single Columbus and put a Triflix studio there, no matter like how desolate the place is.
Yeah, yeah. But it's just, well, it's like we podcast, everything's like live, like either streamed or live streamed. So it's like, I guess maybe if we do a live stream, we go to each town. But
Yeah.
We'll figure that out later.
yeah,
We're not there yet.
That's a later down the road decision.
But we're in the one true Columbus right now.
Yes.
The
this
only
is-
one that matters.
Yes.
Don't worry, guys. We'll find a way. Connell will provide.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, before we get to that though, for the people who don't know us, don't listen to us, what do we do, Tristan? What do we do here at Triflix other than drink water?
I got the waiter thing where like the waiter comes up and asks you how
I
the
know.
food is as you take a bite.
It's just the biggest bite of food that you've had the entire meal. They're like, "How are you doing?" You go,
yeah. What's the Triflix cast? Here's a glass of water.
Not the cast. What do we do at Triflix? What's Triflix?
Oh, we are a creative media studio based out of Columbus, Indiana, and we do photography, videography, and some markety, brandy stuff here and there.
And websites.
And websites.
Boom.
Yeah, yeah. But our goal as a company is to eventually attain creative freedom, because that's what every artist wants.
The elusive dream of creative freedom.
Yeah. So if you like listening to some people talk about what the day-to-day is in that creative industry, maybe it's cameras for the day, maybe it's how to deal with clients that won't pay you your bills. I don't know.
That happens too.
And every other week we switch between this and interviewing some creative people in town. Maybe they're realtors. That's pretty creative, selling house.
Hey,
I don't know where I'm going with this.
sometimes.
Artists, like actually like people that paint things, like a traditional artist, or I don't know. What else do we do?
We'll interview anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody that's got a story.
The guy off the street.
Hey, that would be entertaining. Be like, hey, you. Hey, want to
come
be on a
over here.
podcast?
Hey,
We'll feed you.
You there? You like filmmaking?
You like filmmaking?
Oh my god.
Come on in. So
Oh, man.
yeah, we're a creative media studio. We make artsy things, and we
Who was
we
that?
Get clients.
Nope. Who was that?
I don't know who that was. It wasn't the guy at the... I put my thing on the...
I told you guys.
Here, I'll show the audience. For
those of you watching.
Oh, it was on the work selection.
Ooh.
But apparently that means emails can make noises.
Yeah.
You might need to critique those focus modes, homie.
Yeah.
Do you think it actually got picked up on audio?
Yeah, I heard it.
It was
Oh, it was
in front
on
of my
there.
microphone and my phone and my computer.
But anyways, that is who we are. This is the Triflix cast, guys. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things today. It's going to be exciting. The first thing that I'm going to throw out there is this is our actual new podcast studio. We've been working very hard for the last couple of years to grow the company and to grow all of the different divisions that we've been working on. One of those is the podcast, the Triflix cast. We've wanted our own space to be able to shoot this. We are doing that now. This is it.
Yeah. The goal is like to get one so it's like already laid out, and every time we like show up, we just hit record. And we're not there yet.
No,
but we're getting close.
But this is an actual dedicated space for it. Like this room here that we're using within our office. This is like the studio where we shoot. So it's already a huge step up over filming in Tristan's family room and setting it up for an hour and a half every 2 weeks and recording. So
we're saving. Like I'm in a dingy little corner. This is in a separate room.
Yeah,
we changed your shot almost every time.
Single time is different.
Yeah. Well, go back and listen to season 2, guys.
Like, I mean, we took a lot of notes too from that, and one of the things was like we want to make it, even though David's at a far end of the table, and we can seat 4 people at the big table now.
Oh yeah,
we want David. It's awesome. Yeah. We want David to feel like he's a part of the awesome, though.
Yes.
So that was why we got some designs on the walls.
These lovely hexagons.
These hexagons.
All these colors everywhere behind us.
Never fall off.
Hexes.
Very stuck to the wall. Definitely don't need to be reapplied every week.
Never. Never.
All the time we're saving on podcast setup of having a designated room just got allocated to reapplying hexagons.
We have a subscribe and save on Amazon for the tape that we put
just
on
the
the wall.
Yeah, we're getting there. That's the exciting thing. So we're going to talk a lot about this season. We're going to talk a lot about how the company's continued to grow and all the different things that we're doing. So with all of that being said, we're going to go back to that segue that Condell will provide. We talked about this briefly in the last episode. So I thought we would add it to the outline and maybe give some context to this phrase because it's kind of a Triflix insider.
We talked about it last part?
It was mentioned, yes.
It was dropped.
Yes.
Just the only phrase.
Okay.
Just Condell will provide.
Well, triple segue. We do websites. We had a client named Condell, and he created an internal phrase for us that I don't even think he's aware of at this point.
This will be we're making this phrase now public and the reason behind it for the first time. So insider.
You get a business, you start developing, you get customers, and everybody has their own personality, and out of those personalities come quirks or just inside jokes that evolve, and you run with them. And one of them was we had to have filler text on a website, so the client can understand how things will be laid out and how all the information will be conveyed and the fonts and stuff. So as a filler, I just started writing Condell will provide the text for this paragraph. Right. And eventually it got abbreviated to Condell will provide.
Yeah.
So this whole website is like 8 pages, and every single page just is repeated. Condell will provide. Condell will provide. It became a chant in the office. Condell will provide.
Well, I think I was the first one that pointed out how weird it was because you were in your own little bubble, just working on it, not really caring about it. And I turned one day when I was in the office, and I just see you staring at this website, and it says in like 5 or 6 different places, Condell will provide. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna keep working. What are we doing here? Who are the clients that we are opening up to?
We're developing a cult website where Condell will provide.
Some mantra. And
so it sounds like that's our cult. Condell will provide.
Condell will provide.
So now anytime money comes into question of purchasing things or when's the project going to be due, when's something going to be done, it's like, don't worry, Condell will provide.
Yeah. It's just really funny because I just saw that and I pointed it out. I was like, that sounds like a weird cult that you're working on right now.
Yeah.
What is this website? I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, Tristan was the lead on that site. So, and that's just like one of those little fun. I mean, the inside of like Triflix, like of course, like every company has those things where there's the banter between the employees, but like, all these projects take a life of their own sometimes, and it creates these little phrases, and that we're like, hey, it means something to us. So, watch out for that one.
Yeah,
that's the Triflix phrase one. Probably get used for the rest of the podcast. So.
Condell will provide.
Which, speaking of phrases, that segues us into, do you like filmmaking?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is one of those things. I'm gonna get us started, but I don't remember what the whole deal was.
It's all
But
good,
we had
man.
talked about, yeah, I guess in the last episode we had talked about a filmmaking sketch in an alley. Do you like filmmaking? So Tristan can provide.
Dude,
Tristan will provide.
I have the memory of a goldfish and a
True.
senile goldfish at that.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know where it came from, but I don't remember talking about it prior to this. So let's jump into it. Do you like filmmaking?
Yeah, start at the beginning.
See, this was supposed to be serious.
Do you like filmmaking? Yeah, it's an expression that came from. We were trying to put together like a trailer for the channel and YouTube channel, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all the YouTube advice on what a good trailer is like in the first 5 seconds you have to address the person watching and whether or not this video is going to be for them, and that will draw them in to watch the rest. So we try to pose a question of like, well, who do we want to watch our videos? It's like people like filmmaking, of course. And somehow the phrase "do you like filmmaking" got pitched as the question. Logically, it makes sense. Let's do it. However, the way the linguistics or whatever, the frequency my voice hits when passing it out has to be.
Well, and we
man.
work off the channel all the time, and so when you go to the channel, it's auto played as the trailer. So it's like it's also started because it would be like go to the channel and somebody's computer indefinitely every day. Do you like filmmaking? And that's as far as it would go where you would hit pause.
Cut off. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it just had between the annoyance of how it sounds and then the infrequency of like you're just in the middle of working and it's like a fly landing on your shoulder. Play it again.
Here we go.
Do you like filmmaking, starting a business, or
Yeah, do you like filmmaking?
Which we make fun of it because it's just one of those things that gets stuck in your head, and we all kind of have that tendency to regurgitate little things like that to each
Yeah.
other.
We put it on all three of our channels,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so it didn't matter what channel you were going to, you would just hit, do you like filmmaking?
Yeah.
And I like the commercial, like the ad, the trailer, whatever you want to call it, is good.
Yeah.
Like it hits all the things. Filmmaking, are you starting a business? Like all the things that we're doing that we're trying to show on the channels, like it's there.
Yeah, it just really overshadows the rest of the video because the first 5 seconds I paused and then I watched it back through the other day.
Yeah.
And I forgot we did the scene where we were doing, I think it was for Teams and or Triflix team, and it's like our BTS channel where we explain like what it's like to be on set. And there's a shot where it's tight on me and we have a whole set going on behind us. And then we're talking about how legitimate our company is and how we're trying really hard to push our capabilities, and then it zooms out and it just shows a TV behind me, and the whole set on behind me was like some copyrighted stock footage or something playing in the background of people working on set.
It actually has watermarks on it, but because we were zoomed in, it was on a TV, and it was like, you know, off in the distance, kind of like blurred. You couldn't even see it.
Yeah, and there's actually a part where you can tell in the video, even though it's out of focus, you can see where the video starts to loop because there's a guy in the background and he just disappears.
I'm gonna look for that now.
I think it's as he walks behind my head, you can see part of his body just disappear.
I just love that we make video. Like we work with clients. We work with some clients that are not like high profile. And it's like we're doing these jobs, and then like our trailer, it's like we shoved him in front of a TV, and it's a fake studio.
Yeah. Well, that comes from wanting to shoot a video a week. We initially had this idea of how can we put out at least one piece of content a week that's video related, or maybe it's like an event, and we were just able to like get a bunch of stock photos for the day.
Yep.
And we were able to do it for a couple of weeks, and then we just started getting overworked. Like we had a lot of really good clients that we were able to take in, and then we hired a new guy, Daniel, that was on last episode, and we had a little more time. We shoot some fun stuff here and there, and now we're at capacity again, and it's just it's the cycle.
It is the cycle. I was actually just having a discussion with somebody about this today, and it's like it's that balancing act. And we were talking about the fact that like it's never quite level, right? But you're like always teetering between like capacity, under capacity, and with like pulling new clients, and then you're going back and forth the whole time. And it's like as long as it's not stagnant, we're good.
Well, it would get boring too. I feel like idealistically, it's like, oh, I'd love to have a schedule. I do the 9 to 5, and and then afterwards I do this for an hour, and then I do this for 2 hours, then I go to bed and repeat, and every day's the same. And it's like there is some comfort in that, but
like steady pay. A salary,
health insurance.
What are those? Triflix doesn't have that.
That sounds underrated.
Vacation days
or overrated. My bad.
Yeah.
Vacation days. Yeah, it's like,
oh my goodness.
Tristan and I have had the conversation many a time. It's like, what are you doing? I'm on vacation. Oh, you're working. Yep.
Yeah, I'm working from home.
Yeah.
I remember like the first vacation, like I think he took this year. You're like, oh, we're going to go on vacation, and we got a wedding shoot to do during it, so it's perfect. And I was like,
that was just
you
smart.
know, that's just not a vacation.
No, that was smart.
It is smart, but at the same time,
no, I get it, but
like, that's not a vacation.
I learned that on the honeymoon, though.
Yeah.
We went on our honeymoon, and we had a great time. But the downtime was filled with her reading books because that's what she does for fun. For me, I want to play video games, and I think it would probably be really silly to. I couldn't take a computer with me, anyways. But I don't have something to fill my time, and all I know is work.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'm on my honeymoon, and like 3 days in, my wife's like, "You okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just kind of bored." She's like, "Well, what would you like to do?" I was like, "I wish I had my laptop so I could actually get some work done." It's like, that's what I enjoy. It's fun for me. It's why we started the business.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, and I think another aspect of it is that I recently felt at my last vacation is I know that when I'm on vacation that I'm not making money. You know what I mean? It's like we have some things that, of course, bring in revenue. But the fact is like if I'm not continually trying to reach out to clients and keep things moving and getting new clients and making sure projects get done, we don't make money, then I don't make money. But then the new aspect of our business is the fact that we have one person that's actually on payroll. And then David over here, we pay him as a 1099 contractor. Yep. But that's still two people that depend on us, every month to pay for the hours and the work that they're putting in. And so I feel, and it's not a bad pressure,
or 3 months at a
but
time,
I feel the pressure, right? It's like, I'm on vacation, and it's not just my finances that I have to take into consideration. I also need to make sure that the business is pulling in money to pay the people that do the work for us. And that's been a new experience for the last month. And so it's just been an interesting thing to like have in the back of your head while you're sitting, I was like sitting on the beach and you're like, oh man, hope everybody can get paid. You know what I mean? Like,
do you have those similar thoughts and feelings, Tristan?
No,
Tristan also doesn't run the payroll, but
I've managed David for 2.5, 3 years now. And I've been keeping him paid, but I grew up in a situation where we didn't have necessarily a lot of money, but we had everything covered that we needed to. Yeah. And like from my perspective as a child, like there was never a point where I was like, I'm without. Yeah. And I've just kind of carried that mindset. It's like I was in that situation growing up, and I never felt like I was without anything. So like even now, even like on a hard week or something, or like it's a slow week or whatever the situation is, I never feel that like pressure of I have to perform for money. Like I've never had that like, oh, if I don't do this, these things don't get paid, because I just work all the time and that's what I enjoy doing. So I've never really been in a position where it's like, if I don't work, that's what I do for fun. So it's not really a same mindset, I think.
Well, and that's I think that is very telling of the roles that Tristan and I play in the company, running it, and then just the mindsets. But those opposite mindsets help, you know what I mean, to be able to balance the different parts of it.
I'm the creative director because I live in fantasy land.
Pretty much. I mean,
living in his imagination.
Woo, the world's happy.
What are taxes?
Okay, but legitimately, I don't have social media. I don't watch the news. I literally live in fantasy land.
He does.
I don't know what's going on ever. I'm just here to come up with creative ideas and make clients happy.
And that's what I'm saying though. It's like it's perfect because it works.
Yeah.
Because there doesn't need to be two of us that are like, oh man, and not that I'm not saying that I'm like sitting there sweating it, going, we're not going to pay our bills, because we're in a position where we are doing very well, and we're working through it, and so people do get paid on time and things happen, which is great. But still, right? Yeah. It has to always be a perpetual machine that's continually moving to be able to continue to do all of that. And I think that's the only thing, right? And I we care a lot about the people that work for us.
Yeah.
And we want to continue that tradition on. I mean, that's
You care about me. Cole.
I do. I do, because everybody plays a role, and without you guys, it wouldn't be where it is. So it's being able to continue that on. I mean, of course, Tristan and I, we care more about making sure everybody else is taken care of before us, and that's the point. So it's just, I think it's good to think about that stuff, and it's okay that we both don't, because again, we have to balance each other.
And we talked about that before we partnered, because the thought was, you have a steady job, like you've developed a company where you were doing photography and it paid your bills really well. I was doing video, it paid my bills really well, and it was like, all right, we merge, what happens? It's like, well, now we do photo and video, we're one company. It's like, yeah, but why? Like, we both make a living, why do we need a partner? And from there it was like, well, what do I not enjoy doing, or what do I really like doing? And out of that came you're very structured, and we both have a little bit of that element, but you're definitely more so. And it's like, you wanted to be a little more hands-on to some of the things that I don't enjoy doing, which is like reaching out to the clients and finding more work. It's like, I enjoy doing the work, but the client interaction isn't something I excel at, and it's not something I enjoy. And you're like, no, I love the customer face. I love finding people and like interacting with them and building those relationships. And it's like, great, you go find work and I'll get the work done. And that's been a large part of it. I mean, you still do the photography side, but even when you're doing that, you're building a lot of like relationships, because you're still customer face for all those interactions.
Yep. There's been some key moments too during your customer interactions.
Thank
that
you.
We constantly
Thank you,
call
David.
back to in the office.
Yeah, let's talk about one of those, actually, because it's on the list here.
I have to mentally prepare for it. Can you lead me into it?
Of course I can.
Associative memory.
So this was like around maybe a week after we moved into the office, maybe a week or two.
It was pretty early on in like getting things set up, for sure. So
yeah, 'cause that's what we were doing. We were all in the office. We were all doing our own thing. You were, I think, prepping your desk.
I was cable managing.
Cable management.
Watch out, he's had an issue today.
I need more coffee or something.
Yeah,
you were cable managing your desk.
Or maybe you showed up drinking too much.
Yeah, you were editing.
I was either editing or I was working on Monday, getting our systems all set up and configured. And you were reaching out to a client about something.
Yeah, so I was customer face on this. So if it's like a previous existing project that I've had a lot of interaction with, or a past client, and they know me as the face of the company in some regard, and it's like I'm trying to migrate them off to him, but every once in a while we have a couple of people that still want to reach out to me.
We like to keep people comfortable.
Yeah, we don't want to change it up too much. We want them to feel like they're respected and keep that relationship going. So,
because isn't that the worst too, when you get a hold of like a big company and they send you to like 6 different people and you never have the same person to help support you?
Yeah,
we're really trying to avoid that the best that we possibly can. So,
always CC it, always doing group calls and stuff.
Exactly.
So I have to call up this client. And I get the voicemail, and you hear it all the time, and it's like, hey, name, number, and leave it after the message, and we'll follow back up with you. And then it beeps, and you leave your message. I start with, hello, this is Tristan Watkins with Triflix LLC, and then right before I can finish the rest of my sentence on why I'm calling them, all the audio that I just said starts playing back. So, hello, my name is Tristan. Hello, my name is Tristan, and it just keeps looping itself. And without thinking, I was so confused and perplexed. I just pull the phone down and look at the phone as if like the phone's broken, and I just say, WTF.
Fully spelled out said.
Yes. Yeah. No, it wasn't the acronym.
Word for word.
As I'm calling a nonprofit church organization, and I just immediately freeze. And I'm like, there's that 2-3 seconds of freeze, and then I'm like, oh wait, at the end you can usually, I think it's press 5 or press 7, and you can change the message. Yeah. I wait the full 30 seconds.
We talked during that span of time because everybody freaked out because we knew what he did.
Everybody's looking around.
We were like, what did you just do?
Well, Tristan was he's like looking at it, he's like, what should I do next?
Yeah.
What am I going to do next?
So the phone is muted.
We're like, wait for the menu.
I hit the mute at this point, but we're all like we're just like frozen, and everybody's looking around confused, and everybody's like, what do we do? And then I'm like, well, I'll wait to the end. I'll just do 5, and I'll leave a new voicemail. I'll update it. That's pretty typical for the last, 15, 20 years that's been installed on phones?
For sure.
It's
Yeah.
normal. Well, this one was not normal.
Something was definitely wrong. It
just
from
goes-
the get-go.
Done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Done.
So
Kills it.
Recorded, left.
some church has a voicemail on a message machine of someone introducing themselves, saying the company they work for, and then immediately cursing. And the best part out of all this, other than like the 3 days of anxiety I had and didn't know how to handle the situation, we handled it. It went well. The customer, they were totally cool. It never even came up.
We just chose to ignore it. We
Ignore
talked
it.
about.
Never happened.
I mean,
Never.
literally, we could have had a whiteboard and went through all the options because we just kept going like, what should we do? What's next? Like, should we address it? Should we not? And finally, I just looked at him. I told him, I said, pretend like it never happened. And if they bring it up, we'll address it. But I'm like, there's a possibility everybody will be too embarrassed to talk about it. So just pretend like it didn't exist.
See, this is why he's customer face, because I was prepared just to never contact them again and just drop the project and be
Start
like,
a new business.
move to another
Not
state.
a little project either.
No, it was a really big deal.
Yes.
Well, it was for a charity too, so it's like, well, we have to
man.
follow up because like the money of this project was supposed to go to the charities to help out people that need it. So it was so funny. And the best part though is we
Out
have
of all the clients.
security cams in the office. So
Hey.
Yeah, we do.
we could go
Yep.
back and David's like, hey, check this out. And he has the footage pulled on a timeline and he's making some meme edits, some joke video, which really helped lighten the mood of the whole situation.
Which
I hope
as
it did, yeah.
as we're recording this, it has not
Yeah.
been released, but I am going to go ahead and put it out there with this episode, so you guys are more
Oh,
than welcome to
awesome.
go to our social media channels and check out the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get it on the team channel or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll
Yeah.
also, it's short enough that I'll go ahead and it'll be on.
Ooh.
It's on as we're speaking now, guys. It's on Instagram and Facebook, so check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
And maybe
It's a great
someday-
edit too.
Thank you.
Maybe someday we've been talking about, YouTube's going nuts with their ads, and I'm going off script here, but YouTube's going nuts with their ads.
Yeah.
David watched a 2-second video today, and he had to watch, what, a 5, 10, 15-second ad
Yeah, I
before?
loaded up like a minute ad, and I was like, I just want to look at this. I was just trying to find like a sound effect. I was like, is this the right sound effect? And I had to wait like a minute to
That's
just watch it.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Unnecessary. Someday, maybe we'll be able to host everything on our own platform. And on our own platform,
the idea.
If you would like, maybe we could have an adult section for explicit content.
I don't like how you worded that.
I
at
was
all.
going to say, I don't
Adult
like
That
it
is
either.
not good. No.
Rated R.
13.
Rated M for mature.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
Nothing above that.
Maybe someday we'll have a section where maybe you don't want the censored version of some of the stuff we put out, and maybe we can have a home for it, and you can see in all of its glory
Maybe
how
like a
flustered
Patreon
I was.
subscriber thing. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
someday.
This will be a conversation for later.
Yeah.
A world with less ads would be a better world.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to pay for YouTube like I do.
How much is it?
Paying for YouTube.
So it's actually, we're not sponsored or anything. Okay. I pay for a family plan, so I think it's like $14.99 a month, and then you get access to six people have access to the account. Usually, family members, and then you get access to YouTube Premium, YouTube Music, and then there's a couple other things that come along with it. But you have no ads.
No ads.
I haven't seen an ad on YouTube in a long time.
I have ad blocker. I'm a chump.
Ooh, you're that
Yeah,
guy.
I'm that type of guy. So talking about like clients and like your interesting interactions with them, there was also this time where you shot D-log footage, which is I don't know how to explain that very well. What is D-log?
This was me.
This was you?
Yeah, I screwed
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Because
So I haven't heard much about it.
go ahead and explain D-Log, and then I'll
we'll hand
finish
it
you
off.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's different types of footage that you shoot with cameras, and what you shoot with your phone is like Rec 709 normally. Most phones would shoot that, and it's like colorful and vivid, and it looks the way that it will look on a computer. There's logarithmic, which is all the colors are compressed, so that way when you're editing, you can add color to it and make it brighter or darker. And then there's also raw, which gives you even more control than that. But in this specific case, it was logarithmic. And the thing about logarithmic is it requires some special treatment in the environment that you're shooting in.
Yeah, I have found out the hard way that it's one of those things that it's not so cut and dry like I assumed it to be, like some of our other recording formats. So I thought, hey, I'll do everybody a favor, because a lot of times when you shoot in log or raw, you get more data in the image. That way you can do more editing and you can have a better image at the end. So it helps in many different ways if you shoot right. So I was like, you know what? So we're at a wedding, which is the awesome part. And they're like, they wanted some drone footage. So I was like, we'll put the drone up. And I found through the settings, through doing some research, that you could shoot and log on the drone. And I was like, hey, great. Like, I'll do this and it will help everyone. And everyone will be so happy with me because I shot and log.
That was the idea.
That was the idea.
Oh, where's this going? Are we more happy?
We don't know, actually.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you that here at the end. So I throw the drone up. Footage looked pretty decent. Our drone has a built-in monitor on the actual controller. So I figured, hey, it looks great. You know, I understand how ISO and shutter works and frame rates. So shot it, thought it looked great. Pulled it up on the computer after the fact, and we had a ton of grain. It just looked like the ISO had been completely blown out. And Tristan was like, what'd you do? And I was like, I shot it in log, and what I was supposed to do. And he's like, we haven't even tested that.
Dude, it's like whenever your kid washes your car for you, like trying to do a nice gesture, but they like use sandpaper.
Oh no.
That is very accurate. I felt so bad too.
You're like, oh, good effort.
So
don't ever do it again.
Yes. And so to add insult to injury, we had been hired as a third party to shoot this wedding for another studio, and we were not editing the footage. So we literally shot the footage and handed it off to another studio. And we never heard anything, so I assume they were able to grade it.
I asked them how the video turned out, and they said the video was great. So they also didn't hire us for drone footage, so I don't feel like...
Correct, but still, it's like, hey, like I put my faith in this other studio that knows video supposedly, and then somebody gave the drone to the producer, and and he goes, like, I will shoot and log.
Yeah, that's not entirely like
it's not
the inexperience, but then also like I don't fly drone enough to be comfortable flying it for a wedding.
Yeah,
because your drone is very different than the model that I flew with prior to you joining. Yeah. And we don't use that drone anymore because it's worse. It's just not as good.
Well, let's be completely clear. Like, I am in the Triflix realm of everything. I am the drone pilot. I have all the qualifications to do so. Been flying for a very long time. I just have never shot in log. Yeah. So that's the biggest part to it. Is I've done a ton of stills. I understand how that works. I shoot in raw. All of that makes sense. But I was like, log, it's got to be close to raw for a photo. You can get more data. Let's do this. And I still do not understand it at all.
Yeah.
So I don't touch it.
So we've had issues with things like this before where somebody...
the first time that we shot in log.
Yeah, the first time we shot in log, it was the same issue. We were hired by a client to do DP work or run the camera, shoot with our camera for a short film festival.
I thought it was... Wolfgang's wedding.
Oh,
I think we put it on log.
Was that the first one? I think they're really close.
We had a really weird exposure problem, and we were trying to pull the data out of the highlights, and everything was almost too grainy, but we made it work.
Regardless, I think you're picking up on the trend.
Yes,
we're using some really cool new tech, and we hadn't had the chance to practice with it enough. We tested it out, but it wasn't robust enough of a test.
Well, testing and practicing are two different things as well.
That's true. Yeah,
it's really hard to
So instead of a drone, though, we had in log footage, and the letter in front just denotes the company that's making this type. You get a Sony TV, you get a Vizio TV or whatever. The type of log was designed by Nikon, so it's in log, and in his case, it was D-Log for Ninja. Doesn't make a difference. Just the company
DJI,
makes it.
But that's okay.
What'd I say?
Ninja.
Yeah.
Ninja in. It's all the same.
Those are Atmos. Those are different companies. Thank you for clarifying. They would have been so confused about something they'll never buy.
How does the D come from Ninja?
Know.
What? Does he know something I don't?
Affiliate links in the description. we're at a wedding, and we got this new device that allows us to shoot wider range. Same logic that he
More
had. It's like,
data.
oh, more data. This will be so much better. And we tested a little bit in office. It worked out really well in a controlled light environment.
Oh, yeah.
That's the key for log. It has to be a controlled light environment, and you have to set your exposure or like the lightness values, how bright or dark the scene is,
Right.
appropriately. Well, we go to this wedding, and I don't change the settings enough. So we go into some environments that are really dark, like in a dark sanctuary for a wedding ceremony. And what I should have done is just not shot log, because if it's that dark and you don't have enough light, the footage just looks really grainy. And we had that situation with the other wedding.
Yep.
Now, the outside shots, I was pleasantly surprised because I didn't expose properly, but you can pull so much data out of the highlights. So we're like outside and they look like golden angels. Everything's just like
They
so
have like
blown
halos
out.
around them somehow.
Yeah, like there's
They're
just
glowing.
so much light going on, and in post we're able to like pull that down. So it had uses where it saved me in certain situations, and then it was also the downfall of others, and it was just not getting to practice enough with it. And I mean, we tested with it, but it wasn't it was in an office environment where we had lights set up, and the lighting was very similar throughout the whole shoot. So yeah, D-log, N-log, all the logs, they have a lot of pros, but you gotta look at the cons before you start shooting with it.
Yep. And Cole needs to stay in his lane.
No,
It's just knowing the tools that you're
You did
working with.
good.
When you switch that, I can't talk. You're
I'm
so right,
dead.
Cole. When you flip that switch, I'm so sorry, Cole. I can't talk today. When you flip the switch for going, you just can't use the same like practices you're doing because you think it's going to behave the same way, but you have to know to adjust like the ISO and everything.
Yeah. Well, and that's
And
been
that was the biggest downfall.
well, yeah, and it's just one of those things where I assumed, which assumption's always a thing to get you.
Yep. Yeah,
I
that's
assumed
it.
that the skills that I had learned in still photography would mostly move over to video. And not to say that some of those do not, because you still have to understand the basics of how a camera works and what those things do. Like how is that manipulating your image? But at the end of the day, there were just certain things, shooting a raw photo is, the same practice in theory. It's not the same thing though, because it just manipulates differently.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is like you can look down on anybody whenever they're like trying out something new and it doesn't work out. Like you came in, I was like, "What'd you do, buddy?" And I wasn't trying to like make it, feel bad about it, because at the same time that's how you learn. And while we would prefer it always be practice behind closed doors where no one could see us ever make mistakes,
Right.
That's just not reality.
it's not. And I feel like there's just a lot of culture right now where like you're expected to perform a certain way in the public eye, and I don't want to propose that's how we run our company. Like we're human, we do our best, and even whenever we make squeaky mistakes, we always try to pull it back together. And
Squeaky bottle.
I did tell the client too in this situation for the drone wedding, I said, if you need anything for that footage, I can grade it, because I have had to grade bad log footage before. And I know what that process looks like. It's salvageable. It's just not to the quality that we want.
Yeah.
To the client, they were totally happy with it. But like we want to keep pushing ourselves so we can get better. And then also with that other client that were the wedding we shot with the grainy footage, after we shot like 3 or 4 more projects and I learned more about it, I went back and re-edited it. Re-edited it. And
That's a lot of da-da-da-da-da.
I didn't reshoot it. I re-edited the projects, and I sent it off to them, and they were very happy. I could have just been like, that's what footage looks like now, but I owned up to it, and they were very happy about it. So through it all, you learn how to do things better, and you find workarounds for things that you might run into in the future.
Yeah. Whenever somebody comes to me with like an issue or like a mistake they've made, I try not to emphasize like it's a mistake and you should feel bad, because like some people do that, and I don't think that's right, because I want to encourage like experimenting and like learning new things, because like a part of the learning process is making those mistakes.
Yeah.
It's true.
not to justify past mistakes, but when it's like other people, it's like, I know I've made mistakes and I've messed up really bad. And if other people have made mistakes, like, I want to make sure I can like help them get on the right track and not just like discourage them to the point where they just want to give up and like become a lumberjack and just not do what they want to do anymore.
But in-house, we do it very satirically and we just rip each other all the time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Which speaking
between friends is completely different.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, making somebody want to pick another profession and making mistakes and things like that. What's a mistake that happens at weddings, Tristan?
That's very ambiguous. Are you leading me into something?
I am leading you into something.
I might go to the left to look at the
You're
notes.
not even looking at the outline, are you? What is something? This is going to be controversial, and we
No, it's already
like
controversial.
That. No, I know.
Because
We're going to continue it on because I say, why not?
Especially with the circumstances of what was happening, and like I'm not like the best videographer or photographer in the world, but I can tell you at least like what I saw of what we're about to talk about. It was very obvious like what should have been prioritized and like so
get it.
Everybody
go into it.
Everybody, does something, and when you do something for a living, it becomes even a little more meaningful because it's how you make your income.
Yep.
And when it's about that, people get defensive. So I was shooting a wedding. We were all shooting a wedding.
You're
actually.
being so nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm a nice guy. I would say this.
We're nice people.
I would say it to their face either way. Whoever falls into this category.
Right.
When you're doing your job, it's okay to be cautious of how people view you and trying to do a good job and all. But at the same time, you gotta. Where am I going with this? Hold up.
It's easy to get trapped in a bubble. Of your own work.
Yeah, you're getting trapped in your own bubble. So what happened is we're shooting a wedding all together, and as we're going throughout the day, there's a clicking sound, and not like somebody in a wheelchair. Every time the wheel goes around, it's like a subtle little click or something. Like not somebody's got tape on the bottom of their shoe and it's clicking on the floor. Like a loud gun is going off, maybe like a quiet gun. A very loud sound's going off. And we're looking around. It's the photographer's camera. And the photographer's camera, it's really annoying to me in my ears. It's really annoying to my video when I'm shooting a wedding exactly like that, but 20 times in a minute. So every other second, or it just shutters really fast. And it's so loud. And it's not just impacting our ability to get good audio for the video. I'm I don't want to... I'm thinking to myself, I'm not trying to be too defensive here because, they have to do a good job.
Right.
Well, how does a photographer take a video without making a loud noise type of question? And it's also interrupting the entire ceremony because these loud shutters are going off as they're doing their I do's of everything. Oh my gosh, that's a loud sound.
That one's horrible.
And it was just this sound all over and over again. It was driving me nuts. And I was really focused the day we were shooting it, and it was annoying enough that it bothered me, but it wasn't annoying enough that I said anything until we start editing the footage.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And as we're editing everything, it just becomes so much more apparent whenever the couple is reading letters to each other, and it's supposed to be this sentimental moment, and it's just ruining our take. And I put a comment on Facebook, and I said, I will never, and I'll stand by this, I will never recommend a wedding photographer that shoots without silent shutter. And what silent shutter is, it's a feature for newer cameras that are probably, I think you can get it for $1,200 and up cameras, often offer this feature that reduces that sound to 2% of what it sounds like in any other situation.
Or sometimes none at all.
It's sometimes none at all.
Yeah, depends on the type of camera, but yes.
So
silent.
It's completely quiet.
Yes.
And actually, you know what? No, there was a $300 Nikon camera I worked with for another client, and they had this camera available, and they asked me to turn off the shutter sound. It was a $300 camera, and it had it. And the issue that comes with this became evident because somebody commented on the photo, and it's somebody that heard the post, and somebody I would actually like to have on the podcast sometime just to talk about it more.
Hey.
And they said, they basically pointed out that I don't know enough about that subject. And I, to their credit, I don't do photography, so it's not something I experience a lot. When you use silent shutter, it can cause banding, which is just some color artifacts, and it makes the image look less high quality. And to a photographer, their job is to get really good images. To me, it's to get really good video with clean audio. So we're at this point of both being defensive about what we do and why we're doing more is more important. And then I was talking to Cole and David about it, and it's like we came to the conclusion, maybe I'm speaking for everybody too much here, but it came to the conclusion, it's like, well, what's best for the wedding and what's best for the client? And it's like, not only is it interrupting their video audio, but it's also really annoying for the ceremony and the day of. And I looked up more on the information on the banding issue and the artifacts. It only occurs on lower end cameras. And his comment was that you should recommend based on quality, not just the tech that somebody uses. And I fully agree with that. The quality somebody brings is utmost first, but the second priority is how well and easy is it for me to interact with that person, not just socially, but technically and logistically.
He also states that it's a gimmicky feature.
Gimmicky, okay. Which I read over that.
Which I don't
believe, especially for this. Like this use case, you want to have something silent.
But this, and they were very loud cameras. I know some cameras with shutter are less noticeable. Yeah. So it was a very specific situation that we ran into.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more common, the fact that you have the ability to switch between a mechanical and electronic shutter to be able to have silence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a thing. And I think, there's more than just wedding use cases for this. There's plenty of times. There are times where I will go to shoot with Tristan and he will, he'll be working on shooting video work and we need to watch our sound. And so I can switch to a silent shutter and have the ability to take really good quality behind the scenes photos.
Yeah.
Now we shoot everything on mirrorless, so we have that option, but by no means does that feel gimmicky to me. That feels like an extra feature to help me do my job the right way.
Yeah.
And a devil's advocate to this situation be like, well, maybe you could do another take where they're just not taking photos. Be aware this happened. We can just ask them, hey, we're going to do this again.
Right.
But, can you not take photos? But also to go against that, it's during a wedding day.
Well, yeah.
You can't just
always
do things
strapped for
over
time.
and over. There's a schedule, and if you have a bridezilla, that's really not going to happen very well. And so it's just, I don't know, just being aware, when you're doing your job, especially they're standing there reading things out loud.
Oh my gosh!
Click. They're not reading it so that you can hear it in the picture.
Click.
It just some things you just need to be aware what's happening.
Yeah, and the funny thing was there was 2 photographers, so it was twice as bad as any other wedding I'd experienced. It's true. And all this to say is whenever you're trying to identify issues, you can't fully look outside of yourself. You have to look inside a little bit. And moving forward, we do have a list of questions that we already had existing of what we talked to a wedding couple about, and we've added to this list, asterisk, we've added this to the list, that we mention and manage expectations better. And that expectation specifically is, do you want good audio? Okay. Does your photographer have silent shutter, and are they willing to use it for good audio?
Yeah. And you said you only recommend those who offer silent shutter. So
Yeah.
not only silent shutter, but make sure it's an option. So when you're doing things.
Yeah.
We've worked with so many good camera operators, people that are photographers that come and work at weddings, and 90% of the people we worked with, we've really liked. And they think about that, and it's a balancing act between our crew and them, always. And the people who are willing to work with us are the people that we're willing to work with. All of that plays out to give the best product from them and the best product from us, and everybody goes home happy, which is the idea. And I think there are some photographers that we've worked with, it's a very small number of them, that, I understand they're focused on their job and they need to do that, but everybody has to be conscious of each other.
I think a visual equivalent is a photographer knowing when to turn off their flash. A flash was going off constantly throughout the wedding all the time. That would be super annoying for everyone involved.
Well,
and
plus,
so,
it's true.
It's not like they can't use the flash, but
pretty
just,
bad.
Know what situation really needs to use it or not.
Yep.
And I don't know. It's just kind of silly.
Well, it's really just the managing expectations, because in some cases, maybe the bride and groom, they've wanted to work with this photographer the last 4 years, and the videography was a second thought. It's if that's the case, let's have that conversation ahead of time so I'm not getting frustrated. And maybe they're like, you know what, we don't even want audio, just do music over the whole thing. It's like, all right, well, that makes our job easier, and I'm not stressed out while I'm shooting.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and like you said, managing expectations, sometimes there's only so much we can do. You know, some things get overlooked, and sometimes there's just that urgency that you're just like, okay, well, they've already set up without, you know, any thought to what we need to do next, and it's just like shoot and don't miss the moment.
Yeah.
And then we work with that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just, you know, there's certain things you got to deal with, and we have to have those conversations afterwards. But
yeah. So I'm getting ready to head out here, but I'll let you guys keep running because I think the's a couple more things we'll talk about.
No, you're good. We'll wrap up.
I think
so
we should just
There's things we can talk about next week.
For clarity, I misspoke earlier. I think the quote was, I will never recommend a wedding photographer that doesn't offer, specifically offer, because that's where it goes back to the management of the expectations of the wedding party.
To quote you directly, it says, I only recommend wedding photographers that offer to use silent shutter.
Yeah.
So yes.
So that's one thing. And then two, I'm not ragging on the two photographers that shot that wedding. They did a great job, and their photos turned out excellent. This is more of us just having a conversation about things that we learn along the process. And in hindsight, I wish I could have either talked to the bride and groom or at least the photographer ahead of time about it.
Yep.
Well, and unfortunately, I think that when you put stuff online, sometimes there's the, it sounds more malicious in your own head than it really is.
Screw you, your photos suck.
You know what I mean? It's just that negative connotation. I think there's a lot of that going on, and that plays into most of that, but I get it.
We're not infallible. We'll make mistakes, and maybe this is one of them. Who knows?
Let us shoot in-log for you.
What about you? You in the comments there. What do you think about photos and video? Do you think it's dumb that we even get audio? What do you think? Should every camera just be louder? Should we like add speakers to make them louder for ceremony?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'd be good. I like that feature.
Awesome, guys. We're going to wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Tristan's got some stuff to do tonight, so we're going to get this thing wrapped up. Episode 2.
Yeah.
Okay, there was two other things. The Google algorithm we'll talk about next time all of us are together. And the biggest thing was last on the list. It was the thing that I've wanted to talk about for like 4 months now. We put out a podcast like 7-8 months ago, maybe. Probably longer than that.
Yeah, because this would have been during season 2, and I think probably halfway through. So I mean, it's probably been about a year and a half, something like that.
So there was a camera coming out at the time that was leaked, and it may have not even came out, right? Like it was a leak, so it's all hypothetical. And we put out a whole podcast talking about it. We'll have a link for that. Yep. And this was supposed to be the greatest camera ever. And then just a couple months ago, it got announced.
Yes.
And I really want to talk about how closely it met the expectations that we talked about in the previous podcast, and whether or not it's actually everything it was going to be, and whether or not it's what it could be. And that's something I really look forward to. So hopefully you guys get a check-in about 2 weeks, and we'll talk about one of the coolest cameras to ever come out.
Heck yeah.
Maybe it's terrible.
Since I introed us all, I guess I'll roll the outro. We are doing music and stuff. Do you have something to say, Tristan?
Oh, no. While it's playing out, I think Cole's got some things to say.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do we got?
You can listen to the podcast on all the major platforms.
Oh, yeah.
You can also watch it on YouTube. We'll have links on the Triflix Cast Instagram page and our website, all the good places to find us. You'll be able to see clips on some of our other social media platforms, so check that out. We're at Triflix LLC on everything else, and then Triflix Cast on Instagram if you want to check out that. And then our website is triflix.com if you want to see who we are, what we do, and get a hold of us. Thanks for listening, guys.
Play that outro, Jamie.
Woo! Yeah, where do we hear that music?
Hey, one more thing, ladies and gentlemen, as we play this out and dance to some sweet vibes. If you guys are interested, you know somebody might want to come on the podcast, hit us up. Maybe they'd be a good fit.
We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah.
Peace. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
That too.